Not always we can do metal-free restorations. Sometimes we need to create a good and stable framework for our restorations to go on top of. And that's when metal comes in very, very handy. I want to go through a case of mine that was started by a good colleague of mine from Washington, Dr. Jamie Progobin, and I completed it. I want to show you what this started as, and this is the photos that he shared with me. We can appreciate the cant and a smile of this patient because some of the teeth have started growing down, some of the teeth have started growing out, and there's really no base to go by. So this involves a lot of planning, a lot of temporaries and sets of temporaries in order to get to the proper case. But this patient was very adamant about keeping the existing implants that he has, about keeping the existing teeth as most as possible, and we honor patients' wishes, obviously. So I want to show you how he presented to me. He presented to me already with the temporaries that Dr. Progobin did for him. He did a fantastic job in terms of getting the plane corrected and in terms of saving the teeth that he had that were savable. And you can see how this plane is nicely aligned now. And we can see that his teeth are actually aligned pretty well. And the top is on implants, the bottom is partially on teeth, partially on implants, and I'll show you that as well. You can see the teeth right over here. This is where the temporary is sitting on top of the teeth. These temporaries are sitting on top of the implants, and you can see some of the implants showing through here. And is it a concern? Well, you saw the image before, and the image before showed you that you cannot see any of those implants because he smiles barely showing his top teeth. About halfway only, right? So it's not a concern from the aesthetic standpoint. Is it a concern from a mechanical standpoint? Not really either. These implants are long, they've been there for a long time. They're cleansable, and he's able to maintain them. So do we want to start removing big screws out of the patient's mouth to cause more bone loss to replace them again? If they're stable and he can maintain them, we can keep them. Especially we had 8 of them in place. So even if one of them becomes an issue, he still gets to keep his teeth. We decided to do this case as a metal restoration because of the placement of implants that was done way before, that was not satisfactory for the full arch protocol. Doesn't mean that was not satisfactory for the single restorations that he had before. It might have been fine, but when we think about a full arch, we think about the big restoration that goes and spans the ridge. And for that purpose, we want it to be ideal. It was not ideal. So how do we minimize those areas that are going to be thin in material? And how do we prevent fractures? How do we prevent complications on it? Well, the answer is metal. Even though zirconia is a great material, and it looks great, and it's durable, and it's comparable to metal, in some areas, specifically where thickness comes to question, metal still wins. And that's why we decided to do this as a metal restoration. And because we decided to do metal for the top, we wanted to match it to the bottom so that the wear is even everywhere and that one teeth is not wearing the other on the bottom opposing it. So you can see these are the temporaries that were made before. This is the fracture of the temporary that happened while the patient was away and in process of transferring from one provider to another. And it might have issues, but it's a great start. It's a fantastic start. So we did a metal try-in, which is the first stage that we do, where it has these small protrusions where the metal contacts each other, and these protrusions get worn off afterwards and replaced with porcelain. But what we're looking out of this is that the patient bites down comfortably on every single surface that we designed, and that it sits evenly with all the implants as well, and that there is no show-throughs. We also look at the margin of the teeth to make sure that the teeth are seated nicely closed in without any gaps. Once this metal is done, and we go to the next try-in is called a bisque bake try-in. It's where the porcelain is baked on top and it's layered by the technician, and with this porcelain it gets fired initially, not all the way through, so that it's still in a soft stage so we can adjust it if we need to. This way we can tell the technician, okay, let's adjust this spot, let's adjust this spot, and then go and fire it through a final fire. So you can already see that his smile is looking great and aesthetic with these, and he doesn't show any of those implants that we saw, and the plane is great, the midline is great, and we have nice fit with both the teeth and the implants. So we go to the next stage, which is the final fire, the porcelain, which when we got from the lab, we saw a small hairline fracture right in the front. And it's important to point out that when you get these final restorations as a dentist, you always have to look for things. Don't assume that they're perfect because they just came from the lab. Sometimes happens in between the process that things might crack, and you want to note these things before you put them in the patient's mouth and tell them, oh, it's good to go, because it's not. So we pointed out this fracture and we said we're going to send it back so that it gets repaired, obviously. And the way to repair it is to strip the porcelain and reapply it so there is no any issues in the future. But we still tried it in the patient's mouth, and it looks great and aesthetic. we have nice shine and patient loved the aesthetics of it, but this fracture line we wanted to fix. So we ended up sending it back to the lab after we checked that our bite is correct and their aesthetics are perfectly on point. So when it came from the lab, you can appreciate no more fracture because we repaired it, we relayered the porcelain, and the restoration is still nice in aesthetics, and we have a very good fit in between the top and bottom teeth. And the patient is super happy. This is how he appeared afterwards, which is, I think, a great result. And I just want to say that not every case can be done in zirconia. And even though we gravitated towards that way right now, because everybody's after metal-free restorations, take a look at this case. Can you see any of the metal in here when he smiles? No. That's because an excellent job by the lab technician and a very thorough planning by 2 prosthodontists that were involved in this case. Implants came by 80s when Brannemark came by, who was actually a bone surgeon. He developed implants that went into like the leg and etc. And he realized, oh, these things actually integrate. They become solid with a bone. Everything before was done either in gold or in metal. I want to say late 90s is when zirconia came around, and they started realizing, okay, zirconia is actually pretty comparable to metal. We can get nice stability as long as we have thickness. Metal is so bad for you and etc. It started becoming more and more popular, obviously. Came out to be like a nice marketing trick, obviously, for people to sell more zirconia, but in the end, metal can be thinner and have better durability than a thin zirconia. Even though zirconia is like, nice and aesthetic, you can still hide metal underneath the porcelain really well, as long as you have a master technician who knows what they're doing when they layer the porcelain.